because his lease period was, I think, 10 years. So alinigonga double, shamba wakakosana ikauzwa, and that's how I lost everything on that piece of land. But do you have time? No, you don't have time. Whenever you have time to have time, all right? First things first, if you need to use the washrooms, as you can tell, we're in sort of like in a forest. So, gentlemen, mmeshikanisha, si ndio? But there's a small room behind the camera. There's a small room. It's a pit latrine, so don't try to flash. Hakuna kitu ya kuflash. If you're not used to like aiming, you might have a problem. But you guys look like you'll be good. So there's a pit latrine there. There's tissue. Nasi natural one. Tulitoa because you guys were coming. We normally use some leaves. Not avocado leaves. We normally kuna eco. Trust me, this one there. If you need to wash your hands, there's a tank. So unless you go around, wash your hands over there. There's a pipe here. Lakini the guys in the kitchen are using it. Probably they'll be done by that time. So you could wash your hands. This tank over here. I know ladies carry those wet papers in your handbags. What do you call them? Wet what? Wet wipes. Majama kuna kitu mmeshika hapo. Ni sawa. So majama unaweza kujificha mahali huko, utajisota. Alright, in the event you need any assistance, let's say you're having a slight headache, probably you were doing a lot of math yesterday, account yako imejaa mamilioni, kwa na kichwa sana, talk to me. I have some painkillers. I will exchange painkillers with 10% of what's in your account. Good? Alright. At some point you're going to go around the farm. You didn't come to a perfect farm, so in the event you find weed. See your weed, like weeds, we'll show you how to do weeding, okay? So we're gonna go around the farm, then we're going to come back, have some water. Water, na maji, that's what I mean, maji. Sio hiyo ingine. Hiyo ulichapa jana hiyo. Leo ni maji. Some of you need to hydrate a lot. It's okay. Please talk to me if you need water. We have kuna vitu hapa hivi mtaonyesha na watu wa Davis&Shirtliff how to do that. On a serious note, I'm so happy to see all of you here. We are streaming live. Well, not yet. Yeah. Oh, so I'd be serious. Hi everybody. Am I live? Hi, ninajiona pale. Jesus. All right. This to all my haters. Seriously. Let me tell you something, a short story about irrigation. Back in 2016-2017, I started farming here back in 2011. Jesus, I'm a dinosaur. It's been 13 years. This is my 13th year. My goodness. Irrigation. True story. Maji ilikuwa inafunguliwa around 9-10 p.m. Sasa nimepanda some to cabbages here, some to sukuma wiki. My employees, because they've been working the whole day, I would have to drive here and get a stool. I'm not trying to be funny. Get a stool and sit here with a hose pipe and irrigate at night with a torch, with a simu yangu. Because that's the only time you're going to get water. Asubuhi inafungwa. Haya, ukiweka sprinkler, hujui how long it's going to. It was faster, or I thought it was faster to just do it manually. I have struggled with irrigation. Literally, I've sat here about 1 a.m. rather. It's not funny at all. There's a time when we panda some maize. Remember, it was maize, that block. And 2017, 2018, thereabout, there was a kiangazi, very bad drought. And then people came to my farm. They're like, oh my goodness, your onions are doing so well. Like, no, I have not planted onions. The maize was looking like onions from a distance. So, I'm not trying to, but I'm very serious. I said never again. I'm not going to depend again on rain-fed agriculture. Now, drip irrigation sounds like a very expensive venture. And yes, when you're starting, it's going to cost you. But what is the biggest cost? So it will cost you 30K or 50K or whatever amount, depending governors on an eighth of an acre or whatever. But in the long run, it's going to cost you a lot if you don't do irrigation. If you start doing sprinklers, and they're okay if you have a lot of water, maji or shida huko kwenu, but like you see here, we have a water problem. This pond you're going to see behind me used to be full. but there's some construction going on ya barabara, so wametoboa all the piped water, the kanjo water imekuwa yote imetoboka, so we are relying on borehole water, not at the farm. There's a guy amechimba borehole huku juu, so tumeomba maji kwake. Okay, of course we are paying, tumeomba maji kwake, so I'm lucky I have a secondary source of water. Why I cannot sink a borehole here? Because this is leased land. You're like, oh, not to get. So for some of you who are beginning, who are probably getting to farming and you want to lease some land, don't go sinking a borehole. It's rather common sense. It's going to cost you 1.5 million shillings. After maji metoka, uambia, you know, now my son wants this land, anataka kulima, so unafukuzwa after you spend 1.5 million shillings. So do not go sinking a borehole on this land. That's rather common sense, but it's not common because kuna mtu alifanya hivyo, akachimba borehole Embu. After 1 year alifukuzwa. Na wewe sasa kwenda kuweka CG concrete kuharibu. It doesn't make sense. So think of having a water pan like we're going to show you. We're going to show you how we are pumping it out using solar, thanks to amazing people from Davis&Shirtliff. Kuna watu watakufanyia hesabu hapa, how much it will cost you to have this simple unit and how you can get started. So today we just came to talk about farming, irrigation, solar, na mbegu. Now, please don't laugh at me. You promise? No, you are laughing already. Kuna hizi mbegu huwa zinapimwa na kikombe. That's how I started farming. So unaenda unaambia, pana hii sukuma wiki ni ya wapi? Hii spinach ni ya wapi? So unanunua na kikombe because it's cheap. And there's a guy like a pro box somewhere nafungua buti na kuzia mbegu. Nilipanda sukuma wiki. Ushaona sukuma wiki inakaa ni kama imekasirika. You know, it looks angry at you. It looks angry at you. Let me tell you, these people will probably tell you, this is how much? In piece. 150 shillings. This is 150 bob. Hii ni minji. Wakikuyu sama amen? Amen. Watu wa minji na gadhufu. So this is 150. Probably the guy down the road tell you, let us 70 ama 80 bob. Because I'm a tower CG from another farm. You're going to get 20% germination rate. Trust me, you do not want that. Cheap is very, very expensive. So we are here with the experts from Simlo Seeds. They will tell us the importance of having good quality seeds. Just because ni mbegu hapo hivyo does not mean uende upande. Do you just get mbegu ovyo ovyo? Sio mnaangalia mbegu ya kupanda, si ndio? Now they're like, oh God, he's looking at me. Don't look at me. So the quality of the seed determines the quality of the harvest. You can have the most fertile land and the best drip irrigation system with solar and everything. Na chemicals tuga chemicals wako hapa hivi. Where are you? Ako pale atatuambia. You can have the best, but it starts all from the seed. Poor quality seed, poor harvest. So I will not talk so much because they are the experts. This is not my day. It's their day to tell us why we are here, and we are going to learn more from them. Kuna mbegu ya mahindi, kuna roads. And please, people, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. There's not road days. Ama is it road days? Please wacheni kusema road days. Umekuja training usiende nyumbani ukisema nataka kupanda nyasi ya ng'ombe inaitwa road days. It's not road days. It's not bomber road days. It's bomber roads. Sema bomber roads. You know, you sound educated. You know, bomber. Gani nyingine mnakoseanga? Hii ndio inanikasirishanga sana. Bracharia. It's bracharia. I'm a bracharia. Depends on where you went to school. But here, bomber roads, msiseme bomber road days. Msiseme hivyo. All right? So, I think we've done housekeeping. We're good now. Anyone with a burning question? Like how tall I am? You know, I know it could be a question. So I'm 6'6" tall. To answer your question, no, I don't fit in bed. The third question is, do I see the future? In my dreams. Another question, burning question? Hakuna another burning question. So it gives me great pleasure to invite Ken. Ken is from Davis&Shirtliff, and Ken is the digital business. Majina zingine atatuambia ni digital business ni kuna aliniambia lakini sikushika. The titles keep changing. Mtu akienda shwa cheo titles zina change. So Ken, tafadhali kuja salimia watu. Mpigeni makofi.
Thank you, Caleb. Thank you everyone for coming. How many people have you known so far here?
In Jesus' name, I know all of them.
By name, by name.
You can.
Okay, other than me.
Not for me.
Okay, so one of the expectations that we're supposed to have is by the time we leave here, at least be knowing a couple of people. At least now I know Sammy. You remember my name? Good. Thank you. Yeah. So try and you never know. This is very interesting. I think I can give a journey of how we started here. Sindio, before I go into the nitty gritties, the drip line now has been in operation since November 2021, and it's still going strong. What's the lifetime? 5 years. And I think it's going to surpass that. Yeah. And for all that, how much money have you made so far? But anyway, thank you very much for finding the time, for coming early, for even agreeing to sign up and to come here. So we really thank God that you guys have been able to make it today. So one of the things that I expect is that you have an expectation. There's no way you could have come down that dusty road. Nani amepotea? Smith amepotea? Umeenda like estimation of how long umepotea? Okay, good. At least he knows to ask for help. And this is why we're here, to ask for help. For us to be able to learn more. One of the things that we're doing as Davis&Shirtliff, and one of the things that we're really happy about is that we have the products, we have the solutions, but then obviously we don't have everything. We don't have the seeds, we don't have the chemicals, okay? And we also don't have every other thing down the chain. Because one of the other things that you also find is that we have the solutions. Please come in and touch the products. Touching is, we're not going to charge you, okay? So come in and touch the products. Ask as many questions as possible. Ask what this does, how much is it, can I get it installed, where are your branches, how much will it cost for me to be able to get this, can I get this for my mom? One of the things that I like Caleb saying is that over Christmas and over International Women's Day, you don't have to get flowers, you can be able to get a drip kit. You can be able to get a drip kit for your mom, for your girlfriend, for your wife. That will last longer than the flowers. Supposed to last how many days? Okay, just a couple of days. Unless come unampatia maskuma. Okay, so my name is Ken. Come from Davis&Shirtliff. I'm here with my colleagues. I'm here with Godfrey. I'm here with the nice cameraman called Fred. We have Wambua here, who's the irrigation manager, group irrigation manager. We're in so many places, and you can be going over the internet to check where we are located. We have Naomi there, who's done a fantastic job in arranging all this. This is her baby. She's the one who does all the arrangements. She's the one who's been checking all this. Sorry, we've not come with all our products, but we have so many products. Someone can care to guess how many products we have? An estimate. Tukwambie. Wambua hata unajua? We have around 10,000 lines of items. Most of those are pumps. You find solar. So we are in how many segments? We are in water pumps. Smith, tutakwenda kuangalia irrigation solutions. Someone else? Water treatment. Water pumps. Okay, so tumerudia water pumps. General machinery. Pita kuna leakage. Solar. Okay, good. Solar. Chemicals. Fred akona leakage. Swimming pools. What else? And the last one. Anyway, Fred has already said, in chemicals. So, and in all this, one of the things that you find is we have the solutions, but obviously down the value chain, you also want to be able to make it a bit more easier for your customers to be able to access your products. We have so many solutions. If you just go to our website, if you go to the various apps that we have, you can be able to find all our products. If you need to speak to someone at any particular time, you can be able to go in and be able to speak to them. All our branches, we have around 50 branches throughout the country. Around almost you're getting to 100 throughout the region, throughout Africa. Our farthest up north branch is in, who can guess? In Africa. Okay, in Kenya it's Marsabit. It's the highest. Probably will get Moyale. I'm not sure. But it's Marsabit in Kenya. In Kenya? Oh, in Africa?
Juba, South Sudan.
Farthest up. Almost. That's a second. Addis Ababa. The lowest. The lowest in Africa? Okay. Down south. Harare, Zimbabwe. Good. And then east. Can guess. Smith and I guess zote anajua. At least you can confirm that you work there. And then west. A very nice country that has some very big guys. Starts with a G. Ghana, capital city. Accra. Senegal, we've not yet opened there, but at least we are getting there. Capital city of Senegal? It's not Kambuta venye kale bwana sema. Yeah, Dakar. Okay, so one of the things that you find is we have very nice solutions. Sorry, we will not come with all of them, but please feel free to ask anyone of all the guys that I've mentioned. Smith is here, Godfrey is there, Caleb, he's at the NS staff. Wamboy is here, Fred, Peter, Naomi. You can ask myself about all the solutions that we have. Please take our contacts, ask about these issues. Because one of the things that I can tell you for real is that when we came here, Caleb had some water. But right now, as you can see, it's very dry. Okay? So if it was not for some of these things that we have here, we could not even be having green things. As you can see in the farms around Situnza Tupamacho across, is there anything green there? Dust. And I think as you've been coming along, one of the things that you find is that right now you really don't expect people to be farming. But he is farming. And I think it was just probably a week or so ago, he was just getting kunde kunde from the farm. But what you now find with this, now he has the drip irrigation kit. That is, he's able to irrigate. He's not using a lot of water. And he's also not employing a lot of people so that he can do a lot of weeding. So he's conserving the water, which is right now very, very important to do the conservation of water. Because if you have a lot of water and then you're not conserving it well, at one point you're going to get to this situation that Kenya is in at the moment. We're in a drought situation. We do not know how long it's going to last. Yesterday there was a bit of rain. Anyway, where I live, it was threatening to rain. But then with Caleb, at least that's not one thing that he's really worried about. And this is one of the good things that you can even try and do. Come in and take some of these solutions, go and try them at home. Come to Simlo Seeds, get their seeds, try and do this farming practically. We obviously know some of these things are not expensive, are not very cheap. They are affordable, they're not so expensive. So we have some very good also solutions, because down the value chain, we also want to make these solutions quite accessible to you. And one of the things we have a very good solution. It's called the Daily Pahaba, that would allow you to be able to buy this product in installment. We have two solutions. One of them is actually installed here. It's called the Daily Paygo. And we also have the Daily Pahaba that allows you to be able to, buy. And now we'll start asking questions. So this is a mineral water pot, goes for 3,450. You can be able to get this if you don't have the money immediately. You can come in and be able to save pole. And then at one point, we are not even limiting you to the amount of period you want. If you want to save to a whole year, if you want to save for 6 months, if you want to save for a month, you can come in and get it. This is a 6-stage row system, which is very, very nice. So this one, instead of you having to carry around bottled water every single time, you can use this. It's actually called an under sink row, because you can put it just under your sink at home, and then just connect it to the council water or to your water at home, and you get fresh, clean water from it. And it has a very nice tank, so that you don't have to do that every single time. You actually get to store the water. You can store around, I think, 50 gallons in a day. You can do 50 gallons in a day. You can also do, it can do 200 and 400 liters in a day, which is very, very nice. So you get, and then it allows you to store the water in that container. So once you store the water, then you can just be drinking from there, just be putting it in your bottle, in your water, in your chupa, and then you go with it to work. And then you're also saving the environment because you are not littering the environment with plastic. We have so many solutions. These are very nice pump. These are solar pump. Ask around how it can be connected to solar, how you can be able to use it instead of having to use mains. These are some very, very good sprinklers. Ask around them. We have so many solutions. And with all these particular bits, the other good thing that we have is that we don't just have the products on display, we have them at the farm. So we're also going to talk a lot about what this structure is. It's called a sun tower. What the pump that is down there. He has some solar panels, he has the drip kit irrigation. So get to ask about this solution. One of the things that you can do is that by the time you get from here and by the time you get home, let there be a knowledge increase. Sindio? Such that you are now able to know how you can be able to farm a bit better, how you can now be able to get this solution, because there's a movie that I watch, and one of the things that it says is that all of us like to see things grow. So if you have a business, if you have a child, if you have a career, if you have a farm, all of us like to see things grow. And so let's try and see how we can be able to get our things to grow. Because every time, I think every one of us has some time. And one of the things that people like doing when they're relaxing is probably being able to engage in such things. Because it gives, I'm sure Caleb has that, I don't know. I'm sure he gets a lot of satisfaction in just knowing that he can go to see his plants growing and all that. So without much further ado, we have breakfast. Okay, so we're hoping that this will also not take so long, so that also we'll go to breakfast, Mr. Kunyo. Okay, so all of us, I hope that's one of the expectations that you had. At least there's breakfast. Hopefully it should be able to extend probably up to lunch and be able to cover some of that. So I think everything, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. We're going to go around the farm. I don't know how many of you came with gumboots. Oh, how many knows on Nairobi? So next time you come to the farm, come with gumboots. Yeah, you're coming to a farm. Okay, so I'll invite Wambua. Wambua is going to take us through some of the irrigation solution. He's going to talk about the entire range. And as I said, if you have any question, just raise up your hand. We will not bite you if you ask questions. Just ask a question. Stop him somewhere along the road. When he's going through, ask him about, I have this. How can I be able to move from this point to that point? So thank you very much, and do feel free to, and do feel very much welcome. As a last thing, how many of us were here last time? So this is an entire new crop. How many of us were here the other time? Other than the DNA stuff? And other than Caleb and Barak? These are amazing. He's the one who's doing live stream for us. His name is Barak. So this is the third edition for this. We will be doing a lot more of this. And hopefully we can go to get this thing on the road, not just coming here, but then hopefully probably even do some other location in Kenya. So thank you very much, and over to Wambua.
Thank you, Ken. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. Nice to have you around. My name is Stephen Wambua. I'm an irrigation engineer, and I'm in charge of irrigation segment at Davis&Shirtliff. I think Ken introduced it quite well. We cover about 11 countries now in Africa, and we have all our 7 segments represented in every country where we have presence. And we have all our, there are 8 segments actually, we counted them. They are also represented at every branch that you see. Every Davis&Shirtliff branch, you'll be able to, everything is replicated. And I'm sure you've seen our branches around or wherever you've gone. And we like, replicating everything, copying everything right from the head office, and having, everything quite, represented at every branch. Our branches are manned by engineers. So they are very knowledgeable people. We like conducting a lot of training interactions, even within the group. So we talk a lot about our products. I speak every time about irrigation to my colleagues. The solar guys talk about solar, the water treatment guys talk about it. So we are continuously improving our knowledge. And of course, to people like you. Let me say we are living in very depressing times. It's a very desperate times that we are living in now, because we have had several rain failures, and now we are in a very, very dire drought situation. I think we all feel it. And what happens during times like now is it boils down to more spending, the cost of living generally rises. Now we are supposed to be farmers. The Kenyan economy is generally, basically driven by farming. That's one of the major income generating enterprise in this country. We rely heavily on farming. And now that we are in a drought, so what are we supposed to do? Rivers have dried up. Boreholes here in Nairobi are going up to 400 meters. That requires bigger pumps, higher power. I remember, I got into irrigation about 21 years ago, right from graduation. And I remember boreholes in Nairobi used to be 150, 180 meters. 200 was quite deep. In fact, it was like 200 meters, no way. Now, in Karen, we're doing 350 meters. That requires a bigger motor to draw that water to the surface and to the farm. We were using 5.5 kilowatt motors, borehole motors. 7.5 kilowatt was like a dream. Now we've gone to 18 kilowatt, 18.5, 22 kilowatt motors, because you need a big motor to give you that lift, to give that head. There's one borehole that was drilled in northern Kenya. Was it Mandera or Marsabit? Marsabit. That's 500 meters. I'm not sure we are pumping water, money, oil, but yeah, 500 meters. So the situation is getting dire and worse, and we don't see an end to this. What we can keep doing is continue being innovative, because times are changing. So we believe in innovation. We have to keep changing with the times. We have to be, able to keep the costs coming down instead of going high. We have to continue feeding the people of Kenya. And, population is drying up. Life expectancy is getting longer. So over the time, we are having more and more and more people, and we have to feed them. So what do we do during these times? Now, as Davis&Shirtliff, I think we, one of our main philosophies is providing water and energy across Africa. This is not just a business. Davis&Shirtliff is not just a business. It's about livelihoods. Yeah. And by livelihoods, I mean we have to, like I said, we have to keep things going. We have to keep costs coming down. Let me talk now the farmer language. I'm a farmer. I farm in Kitui. I have about 15 acres, and I have a borehole, and I do water harvesting. So I'll talk a bit about what I do. I'm doing currently onions and green veggies, skuma, spinach, and a few other things. As a farmer, I encounter a lot of challenges, very, very many challenges. And one of the biggest challenges I encounter is, like right now, 3 weeks ago, I harvested 4.8 tons of onions, bulb onions. The market was just waiting for me, the obezi shuke. So I harvested 4.8 tons, and so I went out looking for market, and I'm told a kilo is 50 bob. I was expecting to fetch like 60, 70. I'm at 80. So what I told my guys is, no, I'm not selling at 50. I was lucky to get a guy who wanted to take a ton at 60 bob. So I've sold at 60. I've been selling at 60. Lingine nikawambia, it's harvested, it's cured. Kila siku mutaenda soko fulani na ingine with 200 kilos, sell at 60. So market is one of the biggest challenges farmers face, yeah? But I'm not in that kind of line. I want to talk about irrigation. So these are some of the challenges that we face. Now that we don't have water, what are we supposed to do? So as a company, we offer you a number of solutions. We don't offer you water. Water is natural, yeah? You look for it. But when you get water, now we get into a discussion on how well and how safely and how conveniently and how you can use it to maximize your output. Number one, as a farmer, you need to have water, harvest it, look for it, and store it. So we offer you storage solutions like geomembranes, dam liners, yeah, which is very, very critical. Without water and without an idea of where you can get the water, we cannot even start the discussion of irrigation. Sindio? We can't start. So we need water, and you need a good buffer. Caleb was talking about calculations, and I'll tell you, an acre of land, if you're on drip irrigation, would require about 20,000 liters every day to 40,000 liters every day. Now I get lots of farmers coming to me and telling me, look, ile mvua ilisha, niko na tangu mbili ya 5,000 zimejaa hivi, nataka kuirrigate eka 5. Are we discussing irrigation here? It is not practical. So irrigation consumes a lot of water, and so you need a constant supply, whether it's a borehole, harvested water, and you need it in good quantities. So if you have a crop that is growing for 90 days, like most vegetables, you need 90 days to mature, to harvest, and to phase out. You need to be able to calculate how much water you need for the entire growing period. And if you don't have any, yes, question? That's per day. Like now, in this kind of weather, you are actually likely to use more than 20,000 every day because it's very, very hot. So evaporation is quite high. Yeah. And so if you don't have a constant supply and you're relying on rain-fed, rainwater, you must be able to harvest enough. One of the biggest challenges I landed into is I'm using a borehole right now. I started this farming thing about 10 years ago, and I did a borehole. My first borehole has is very high salinity. Calcium carbonate, magnesium sulfate. This is called hardness. Maji ya chumvi. Maji ya chumvi. Maji ya chumvi is very depressing. In fact, ukikunywa, you drink it, and instead of quenching your thirst, unashiba. Unaanza kushiba. And then aitoshi, you continue drinking and drinking. Now, it's even worse for crops. It's worse for your plumbing system. It clogs your drip lines. So, how I dealt with it, I buried my head in sand and said, "Sini maji. Lazimi nakunywa inaingia kwa mchanga. I will use it." But within one season, my drip lines started clogging. That season, nilipanda timing rain, and I got very good assistance from rain, natural rainfall. It's fresh water. It leaches your salts that you've pumped into your soil, and kind of balances out things. You have to use a lot of manure, of course, when you're dealing with saline water. Season 2, there was no rain, and my drip lines actually just clogged, literally clogged, and I had to change them. But even worse, my onions stopped growing. Around there. But when you use saline water, what happens? Salinity increases your pH, soil pH, gradually, depending on the level of salinity of the soil or the water. And at some point, the pH goes beyond what plants level where plants can thrive, and they will just be there looking at you stunted. You look at your crop and you see, these onions, these cabbages, these kales, the spinach, they're saying something. We are all at the same page. Yeah? So I'm not an expert in plants, but But yes, the water quality is an issue that we really have to deal with. Now, I need to mention here that just the other day, we have a laboratory, water testing laboratory. So we do bacteriological and chemical water analysis, very comprehensive, the whole range. And our laboratory was accredited, was it last month? By KENAS. So we have the highest level of accreditation now. I always encourage farmers, whatever your water source, test it first. Test your water, whether it's river water, it's borehole water, rainwater, expected to be good and prepared remedial actions. Know the quality of the water. So know the quality of the water and have it in sufficient. You are competing. The sun is taking up a bit of it through evaporation, and you know you're trying to apply. We are at a war front, and we're being attacked from every angle. So, but anyway, because we still have to farm, we have drip irrigation, drip systems. But before I get to drip, I needed to mention the other kind of storage solutions that we offer. So we have the pond liners, we have tanks. You can use, plastic tanks, but we have some other better low-cost tanks. We call them mesh tanks. I'll give you an indicative price of a 30,000 liter mesh tank. What? It's made of wire mesh, like BRC. You know BRC, but it's I think it's 4-inch mesh, 4x4, and then we have liner inside. Tank liner, it's lined. A 30,000 will cost you about 100,000. That's not a very big one, but the range is between 10,000 liters to about a million liters. So you can store a million liters in a tank. This tank does not require a lot of masonry work, so you just do a ring of concrete and you erect your tank there and line it. So it's not expensive to set up. You set it up within a day and you can shift it. You can actually move it from here to another location. So we also offer corrugated steel tanks up to about 2 million liters. We can get you that. I'm not sure about the costs now, but of course, as a farmer, and if you have the ambition to farm, the first thing that I always encourage farmers is invest in some good storage. Whether you have a borehole or you have some river and you're pumping from the river direct, it's always good to have a buffer because things break down. Your borehole can break down. So you need to work out from the nearest Davis&Shirtliff branch where I can get my pumps serviced. How far am I? Am I 3 days away? So if your pump will take a week or 2 weeks to get serviced, if it breaks down, get that kind of storage to buffer you because you don't want to lose your crop, out of lacking water. So we have all these solutions. Now, one thing I also need to mention is about borehole water supply with regard to the rate of obstruction. I don't know if we mentioned borehole equipment in our range of products, but yes, we supply borehole equipment, solar powered, mains, electricity or grid connect, things like that. But we have a whole range of borehole pumps. A lot of the water that is used for irrigation right now is actually coming from boreholes. And if you get a borehole of 10 cubic per hour, 10,000 liters per hour, from the test pumping report, you don't install a pump of 10,000. Is that common knowledge to everyone? It is recommended that you do about 70%. Is it 70 or 60? 70%. So you put in a pump to give you 7,000 liters. Why? Because you don't want to exhaust your aquifers, very quickly. So you don't put in the maximum yield. I know a lot of people would love that. I got 10 cubic borehole, put in 10. I'm a 9.5, so you can abstract it all. But it's always recommended for your aquifers to last longer. We abstract about 70%. Now, this is somewhere, I don't know whether we've got into this situation because of over pumping, But when you overpump your aquifers, you're very, very likely to run out and run dry within a short time. So we do 70%. Now, so in terms of irrigation technology, we have quite a lot of a wide range of equipment. Ken was mentioning about the sprinklers. We have various sizes of sprinklers. These are called DIRI-jets, day-lift irrigation jets. We've got them in various sizes, up to 2-inch. They're plastic, very cost-effective. I think the big ones are about 3,000 or something, yeah? So they are quite cost-effective. And then we have the small range, which are for light application, the small 3/4 and 1/2 inch and 1 inch sprinklers that are generally used to, irrigate the entire land. So sprinklers, and then we have, we also into landscape irrigation, by the way. Landscape irrigation is one of the biggest, and I don't know why people are not growing crops. We're growing lawns more and more and more. Because a lot of what we sell is actually landscape irrigation. Can somebody care to explain why? Because I'm trying to push drip irrigation, but people come here buying pop-up sprinklers, which is a good thing. We need to live in green environments. We need to utilize the wastewater that we generate, and we generate a lot of it, schools, institutions. So we irrigate a lot of playing fields. Residential irrigation, compounds, we do a lot of that. Simple automated systems, we do a lot of that. Then we have drip systems. Drip. I am an advocate of drip systems because those people who have been boasting of, permanent rivers, are we now sailing in the same boat? No one has enough water, really. And I always keep preaching the gospel of, even if you have a river frontage, your farm is right on a river. Take a river, for instance. Sisai Megauka. It's not dry because someone upstream has overpumped the river. No, this is natural. But if you are somewhere along a river, use this water economically and sustainably so that the people downstream also get to benefit from the same river. And this we can do by employing water-saving technologies. Number one, drip irrigation, which will use about 40-50% of sprinkler quantities of water. It will, curb a lot of other problems that we encounter, pests and diseases, weeds. So it's quite beneficial. You can actually be able to apply fertilizers and chemicals through your drip system very economically. Our drip comes in various specifications. The most common drip that you will encounter in the market has a thickness of 0.4 millimeters, 0.4, 0.45. That's the most common. That will last you about 5 years. Now, kuna drip ingine, and this is not ukora. People sell you drip that is 0.2 millimeters, like full, paper thick, very light drip line. That will last you shorter. You need to be aware of what you're buying. 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. There is also heavier, 0.8 millimeter drip line, which will last you much longer, of course. So the wall thickness is really key to the lifespan of your drip. You need to be aware. There is also the other aspect of the emitter thickness. This drip here is 1,000 meters. And if I look at the spacing, the wall thickness is 0.45. Spacing is 20 centimeters. So there are emitters along the drip line at 20 centimeter spacing, uniform. 20 centimeter emitter spacing, from emitter to emitter, 20. You can also get 10 centimeter, 15, 30, 40, all the way to 200 centimeters. You can get any spacing. Now, your choice of emitter spacing, of course, is the crop. The crop determines that. If you're planting, is that pumpkin or butternut? Caleb.
40.
It's butternut.
Butternut, yeah.
Butternut, yeah. What's the spacing?
Ideally supposed to be 40.
40, 40 centimeters spacing. Now, and because we keep rotating crops, I've seen onions on that patch.
We had done onions last season.
Onions.
Kunde.
I've seen kunde there. I've seen spinach, sukuma wiki. So we keep rotating and doing different crops with different spacings. Yeah. So you cannot have drip line of 40 centimeter, which is available, and another one of 20. You keep rotating with the crop. So what we do is we just have to come to a compromise. What's your most common, crop spacing? 20, 10? You can actually use 20 centimeter drip line throughout, because 20 centimeter will give you very uniform application between 2 emitters, and the moisture, the water applied at 1 emitter will, after a short time of application, be a continuous, line of moisture. So if you do 40, there's no time the water from 1 emitter to 40 centimeters zitakutana. Am I clear? So you do 20 or even 15, and that way you've watered your entire line sufficiently. The other aspect is about the emitter discharge. Now, you get different emitter discharges. Our standard is 1.2 liters per hour every emitter. So this 20 centimeter emitter spacing drip line has got 5,000 emitters. Yeah, it's 1,000 divided by 0.2. That's 5,000 emitters. And each emitter is supposed to give you 1.2 liters per hour. You'll also get 1.2, you get 1.8, 2.2, 3 liters per hour per emitter. So the calculation here is about how long do you want to irrigate with 1.2, and if you're using 2 liters per hour emitter, how long do you want to irrigate? Because if your crop requires 5 millimeters per day, you will not run both the same drip lines with different emitter discharges for the same time. So it's common sense. And so the duration of irrigation comes into play. The other thing is about the pipe sizing. If you have 15 centimeter spacing emitters compared to 1 meter emitter spacing drip line, the flow rate is definitely different. So like this drip line here, if you lay it here, after 1 hour you'll have discharged 6,000 liters. If you have 40 centimeter emitter spacing and you lay it, after 1 hour you have discharged not 6,000 now but 3,000 liters per hour. So that kind of calculation, water discharge and pipe sizing is very critical. And this is now the knowledge that we always want to pass on to the farmers, sizing your infrastructure so that you supply the right quantities of water where it's needed uniformly. Of course, the other aspect is about the length of your drip line. I know a few guys here, and I'm no expert in this, and I want to just talk about the ignorance of some people that, and it's very common. You have a compound, 1 acre. So 1 acre is about 200 meters, the perimeter fence. So you do a live fence like K-apple or any other green fence. Then what people do is you lay drip line round 200 meters. Then you open the tap and water goes only 50 meters this way and 50 this way. The other parts don't get water. Why? Because your drip line is too long and your water supply is not enough to feed all those emitters along the 200 meters. So the issue of the maximum length of your drip is also very important. You can't lay 100 meters drip with a tank like this at 2 meters high. The inlet pressure, the flow rate are very critical. You need to check. So my guideline to all this is, for every 1 meter elevation with 20 centimeter, I'm not saying any spacing, you can actually do 10 meters. 1 meter, 10 meters. 2 meters, 20. 6 meters, don't go to 60 now. I think the maximum I recommend, and this is from very practical experience, is about 50 meters. 50 is very convenient. At 60, you're likely to get less water at the last emitter and more water at the first emitter. Now, this uniformity, we call it uniformity scan.
Can you take care of that by using like what you've done here? where they have different, they've segmented the crop into various crops, and then now you can be closing in one place and then opening in another.
Exactly. Now, by segmenting or demarcating your farm into small blocks, small manageable blocks, that way you shorten your drip span and you increase uniformity. So having your your entire farm segmented into small blocks, number one, it makes management easy, crop rotation possible, and then that way you can be able to manage everything more conveniently. Yeah. So I was talking about the issue of before you ask the question, the application uniformity. Generally, we say uniformity in drip line needs to be at least 95%. So that means if your first emitter is 1.2, right near the tap, the last one at 95.2, I mean at 95% is supposed to be about 1.1 liters per hour. So 1.1 at 1.2, and the least you expect at the farthest end is about 1.1. If you're getting less than 1.1, then the effect will start getting felt by the crop. You have higher growth here, more vigor with the crops where the application is higher, and your crops at the end don't get enough, so they don't get to grow. So 95% application efficiency. So with a good irrigation design, you expect about 95% application uniformity. If you're getting less than that, then the effect will actually be seen on the crop. So drip systems require a bit of knowledge in designing and setting up. So don't just set up drip if you don't have the expertise. You need some bit of knowledge. So it may seem very simple and obvious, but there are a lot of factors that come into play. So please consult, always consult, so that you get your systems and your efficiency and uniformity right. These systems can be further automated to conserve water. And what's the benefit of automation is, number one, if you are automating your system, it means you are defining your irrigation duration, or you are defining the application volume, how much water you're using per irrigation cycle. So irrigation is achieved by timers, an irrigation timer. So you can put in some automated or solenoid or whatever valves, and an irrigation controller that will open and close the valves, and you program how long you want to irrigate each section. So that way, because I don't know, the guy who opens those valves, sometimes anafungulia valve and he decides, let me dash to the shop, buy sugar, I'll be back within 10-15 minutes. Somewhere along the way, you meet a guy, a friend, an old friend, and they are trying to catch up. 30 minutes zinaisha, and before you know it, you've used 2 or 3 times the water that you're supposed to apply. That's wastage. So if you automate it and you define section 1, 15 minutes, section 2, 15, like that, you know it is 15 minutes, it is that amount of water. But it's better than manual, intervention. It's more accurate, it's water saving. So there are various automation methods, of course, depending on what level you are at. For small scale, systems like this farm here, this is about a quarter, somewhere between a quarter and a half an acre. It's slightly bigger than a quarter acre. Automation can become a bit expensive. So as the scale grows, then we encourage automation so that you get things more accurately. So for small scale, automation can be expensive, so we don't, you can do it, yes, you can do it, you can automate. If you have the investment, you can actually do it, but to a lot of farmers, it doesn't make a lot of economic sense to automate small systems, quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, up to even 5 acres, but beyond there, it is important to automate systems like that. Is there anything I've not said about drip? I think, yes, madam. Ask again.
You spoke about clogging of drip lines, especially when you're using hard water. Do you have the acids to unclog or the chemicals to unclog the drip lines, or does someone have to buy another whole set?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when drip lines get clogged, this is not from us. It's not from me. This is what happens out there. I know farmers have been using caustic soda. You flush the drip lines with caustic soda, or you soak them in a drum with acid. So what it does, it basically dissolved the buildup of scaling. It dissolves that scale inside the plumbing or the drip lines and kind of cleans it away, but not fully. It helps. Dealing with acids can be quite hazardous, so you need someone. These are concentrated acids. It's been done. It's the rate of success, I don't know, but it's not 100%. It could be like 50%. So you dissolve the salinity, the buildup of scaling inside your tubes to some level, and then you can reuse it. There is no known cure, really, that gives you 100% results. But that's one of the things farmers do. Flushing it or soaking it into acid overnight, and then the following day you flush them again with fresh water and reinstall them. That works. Instead of using saline water and scaling your plumbing system and clogging your drip lines, we can talk of pre-treatment. Yeah, which is another investment, of course, but if you want good results, you need good water. So we can use reverse osmosis to purify your water. I know it's an investment, it's quite some investment, and depending on your scale, and we can give you a reverse osmosis plant of any size, any flow rate. Now this has to be on a commercial scale. A small kitchen garden really becomes quite an investment, and a lot of small scale farmers may not be able to afford it. But yeah, there are various methods of purifying your water. We have reverse osmosis, we have the other one, reverse osmosis, there is ultrafiltration. Yeah, so there are various stages of purification, but reverse osmosis is the ultimate solution. Now, so what I did, I mentioned I have a borehole which is very saline, and season 2 I failed. So what I did was I dug up ponds and lined it like here, and I use these both waters, so I just mix them. That doesn't give me the ultimate solution, but I know I have less salinity in my water because it's diluted. So instead of 2 seasons, I can do 4 seasons. Yeah, but of course, it's always a problem. Water, hardness is a problem that a lot of farmers have to contend with. And now that more and more we have been using subsurface water, which is contaminated, and the deeper you go, 400 meters in current, you get less and less, and more and more contaminated water. So it's a tragedy, really, and I don't know the end to it. So yeah, it's a contentious issue that we have to keep innovating and trying to come up with solutions every time. Yes.
For Caleb, he has no, let's assume that his water is very clean, so it doesn't have any salts, a lot of salts. So what would clog his drip lines?
Silt or dirt in the tank is a major cause of clogging. And so any physical sediments in the water, suspended solids, need to be taken care of. You need to have a filter. It's always a must to have a filter, a filtration system, before you let water go into the field. So silt is a major, whether it's rainwater or borehole water, it will always come with some silt. And especially, in fact, even in storage, there will be dust blowing into the tank and it builds up over time, and you'll have silt at the bottom, and it runs through your plumbing system. There are leaves from all these trees that get into the tank, and this will go and clog your system. So the filter, and you'll be able to appreciate the importance of that, because I'm sure Caleb has not even cleaned it in the last 1 week.
I didn't do it on purpose so that you can teach them how to worship you.
Yes, good. So we're going to clean it up together so that you can appreciate if all this dirt really went into my drip lines, some emitters will be clogged by now. So we'll have a look at that. Good. I think I'll end it at that and take some few questions. But I want to invite you to the farm tour. We appreciate the drip system, the kind of systems we have here. This is a small setup, and I can tell you, we haven't done everything that's supposed to be done. Okay, it's a demo farm, you know, a very nice setup, but there's a lot more that we could do here. So don't just be confined to, you know, what you see. Think ahead, think more, think, you know, better than what we've displayed here. Small setup, a small demo, but there's a lot more that we could actually do here than what we have done. So thank you very much. Unless there are any questions. Yes. You need to.
When does Caleb do injection for fertilizers and the farm?
No, actually, that's one of the things. Now, fertilizer injection, we have various methods, and unfortunately, we haven't done that. We need to do that. I need to give you a venturi.
Yeah.
There are simple venturis that you install inline, you know, at the outlet of the tank or somewhere in the field. And what it does is, a venturi is just a tube with a constriction and then an expansion, so inside. So it's a constricted tube. And as the water flows through the venturi, it gets to the constricted area and creates a suction, you know, a negative pressure, so that the venturi can be able to suck in another fluid and inject it in the water. We have different sizes of venturis, you know, 3/4, 1 inch, and this determines the rate of flow rate. It's actually something very simple that we can add on here. I know you do top dressing, you know, manual top dressing. I mean, we should have thought about it really, and it's such a simple solution. One of the other things farmers do is you compose your solution and put it in your tank and let the water flow. Now that is also not very effective, because every fertilizer, even if soluble, will have some residue. So you accumulate residue in your tank, and it becomes large and becomes like a contaminant, and will end up in your plumbing systems. The most advisable is use a venturi or a dosatron. There are various, or even a fertilizer pump. We've got injector pumps that will inject fertilizer or any other chemicals in your irrigation. Yeah. Next time you come around, I can assure you we'll have some fertilizer injection here installed. Karibuni, those who are arriving now. We had introduced ourselves. Now we are taking questions about irrigation. Sorry, you missed the first part, but the more interesting one is coming up next. Any other questions? Yes, madam. Chemical that treats water. Okay, against E. coli, bacteria, or anything. Do you have anybody in borehole here? Anybody with good knowledge of boreholes? I know we can treat water in a borehole. I know. Do we put in chlorine, or what do we put in the boreholes?
You don't treat the water inside. You treat it outside.
Perfect. You pump it out and then you treat it. Yeah. Of course, knowing what you're treating against is ultimately important, because you need to know, do I have bacteria in my borehole? Is it salinity? So what chemical or what treatment do I need to keep? So you pump it out and then treat it from there, not inside the borehole. Because again, if you treat it in the borehole, you know the aquifer keeps refilling or replenishing your borehole. So when you pump out, there's more coming in. And when you treat what is in the borehole, you can only, treat it for a short while, but more will continue coming in with the same, contamination, and so it will not be effective. Yeah. Good. Any other question? Yes.
talking about elevation,
Mhm.
you said 1 meter elevation to 20 centimeters. What about the length of the drip line?
Ah, good. So I said 1 meter elevation will give you about 10 meters drip span. Up to 5 meters, so 6 meters will give you, I don't recommend more than 50 meters. So 50 would be ultimately the most convenient length to give you the uniformity of application that we want to achieve. Of course, if you have higher pressure, like you have, a pump running the system, drip lines are low pressure, so you need a maximum of 1.5 bar. Maximum for this drip line is 3 bar. If it goes to 3 bar, above 3 bar, the fittings are snap kind of, so they start popping out. They are not threaded, so it's not strong. And then the tube is light, so you are likely to have bursts along the drip line, and your fittings will snap out, start coming off beyond 3 bar pressure. So you're operating below 3 bar. So if you have a pump, make sure you don't over-design your pressure requirements. And if it's too high, we also have a solution for that. We can give you pressure regulators, pressure regulating valves, so that your incoming pressure, whether it's 6 bar or 5 bar or 4 bar, you can regulate it at the valve and get 1.5 or 1 bar on the drip lines. So that is possible. Yeah. Okay.
You do size the drip lines based on the crops that someone wants to plant, and even also the trees, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So you're talking of the intensity of drip.
Yes, the close spacing, the wide, and the standard.
Yes, correct. So the crop will determine what is your drip intensity. Of course, we always want to maximize your yield. Yeah. So you will not have a crop of onions or chili spaced at 2 meters, one chili here, another one there. So what's happening with the space in between? You can actually utilize that by maximizing your plant population. And so number one, the issue of the emitter spacing, 15 centimeter or 20 or 30, comes into play. And then what is the space between this row and the next one? Is it 10 centimeters or 30 or 1 meter? So your drip intensity is also important, determined of course by the crop that you're growing. For most leafy vegetables and most other vegetables, onions and all that, 20 centimeter spacing is ideal. Now you see the setup here. On the same setup of beds, because we have raised beds, and there is a reason for raising those beds. Actually, I want Caleb to talk about it. Is you find some beds, on some setups, we have 3 drip lines. You can have 4 drip lines on the same bed with the kunde, or is it cowpeas? Next season, you're planting butternut at 50 centimeters or 40. So you reduce the number of drip lines. You have 2 and block 1. So it's quite flexible. The kind of setup we've done is, so we provision for 3 drip lines on every bed. You can block 1 when you're doing skuma wiki and use 2 drip lines. When you change to onions, which has a higher planting intensity, you use all 3. You install all 3 and then use 3 drip lines on the same bed. Great. Yeah, Caleb, do you want to talk about the why you raise your beds?
Oh, okay. Do I stand? All right. Hi. Thank you. I'm beginning my coffee. All right. There are things I was writing notes. There are things he talks. I'm like, dude, I didn't even know that. The importance of raised beds. Personally, this is just a personal preference. I love a neat farm. That's number one. Just want straight line, mild OCD. If I could, it would always be neat. But apart from just having a neat farm, they're well raised. Drainage is very important. And she's an expert here. She's going to talk. She's from Simba. Once I'm done, I'll give her a mic for a minute to talk. So once I've raised my beds, I find the drainage is just, water just sips nicely. But if it's all flat, then you do your drip line, then kunyeshe, we all know what's going to happen to your crops and to your drip line to be covered yote. So that's just one way. I just prefer it raised. But she's going to give us more. There are more reasons I'm not giving because I want her to give us those reasons. But I want to point out something. that I have noticed as a farmer. You know, they're in the office, technicians, but let me tell you something. Please do regular scouting of your drip lines. I've posted that so many times, you guys are like, "Jamani atuambia nini?" Please, utalala usiku kuko poa. When you wake up in the morning, there's a mole, fuko, that decided to chew on your drip lines. How many have seen that? Okay, you are yet to start farming and drip irrigation. Soon you will be, and you will see that. So especially right now during the dry season, kumekauka kabisa, these moles are inside, they're sniffing out for any drop of water. Now akipata drip line yako iko na tumaji, watatoboa. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. So please do regular check-up of your drip lines. Pitia kwa hiyo bed yote, angalia kama kuna any moles. Now, if your farm is very thorny, kuna thorns zingine zina grow to zina prick your drip line. They are very stubborn. And especially sa ile you're harvesting na unatoa hizo drip lines kuzikunja ndio ulime ndio uzile tena. When your workers wanazikunja, wanazivuta hivi, wanavuta hizo drip line. So if there are those thorns, kio kalikuwa mengia ndani already, inararua. So yes, you are guaranteed 5-6 years at least. But it could be 6 months depending on how you're using the drip lines. So just note that when you're folding the drip lines to put them aside so that you can till the land, please make sure hakuna those thorns. Thirdly, when your people are weeding, kuja na kajembe ama na kapanga, they might break it either by accident. Sometimes watu ni kandukulu. Be aware who you're employing at the farm. They could mess you up either knowingly or unknowingly. Just look at that. I want him to explain once she's done. I've noticed, and you guys have been seeing me either on TikTok live or whatever. Sometimes the emitter, inakuwa ni kama ina, let me use this word, I'm not being naughty, kama inakojoa tu maji juu hivi. There's like a smoker stream. Then when I go and tap it like that, kanaisha. So what is that? Tatuambia ni nini? I've noticed quite a few. I have my suspicion, but you are the expert, you tell us. So what should we do? Raise beds and first salimia watu.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Antonina Kandie. I work for Kenya Seed Similar Seeds, and we offer you quality superior seeds. And as Caleb has said, we normally advise you to get certified seed for you to get a bumper harvest. Sometimes we give you rates of telling you a cabbage can give you up to 4 kilos. But depending on how you feed it, you may get yours 1 kilo and then you say the seed is bad. Or especially for those who buy uncertified seed or seedlings that you don't know the source. Those are the things that mostly come in play, but I guess I'll talk about seeds later. About the raised beds. You know, sometimes when you don't raise your bed and then there is a lot of water, your crops will be waterlogged, and at the end of the day, it stops the oxygen getting to the roots, and that at the end of the day gives you a dead plant, or it may you get a crop that is stunted. You don't get uniformity. You get other places crops have higher vigor, other places are dry, and then you wonder what is happening. Probably it's most likely because of the way you have done your bed or even the way you water. So actually when you do use drip lines, it's the best way to be able to have uniformity of your crops. And the raised one, actually most people, we advise them to use raised, not the flat one, basically because of the water issues that happen. So later on I'll probably take you one on the crops.
Begin my coffee. She's going to, after we come from our break, Antonina, once she's done, she'll have time to talk about that. Something I've remembered while I was there. As you answer that one. Yeah, Jet, nakuna swali lingine. Oh, good. And from Tiga Chemicals, you're going to tell us, and probably you, but let me throw in the deep end. These are my bed, ile kukule mwisho, sio bed, kitana bed, shambani. It performs poorly always. All right? That bed and that other bed, ziniko karibu on the tree line. It's either you or him will tell us about allelopathy. That's bad sound kama nimesoma kidogo. If you can talk about allelopathy, or you, right now because we need to go to the farm. So quickly, if not, after we come back. Allelopathy is what is affecting my crops over there.
Good. I think Twiga, who is Twiga? Twiga is taller than me. He's in a better position to explain this. But allelopathy, there are weeds or plants that release toxins in the soil. I believe you must be having neighboring weeds or plants out there that are releasing toxins into the soil, and that is affecting your last bed because it's very near it's on the boundary. So these are very undesirable weeds that will grow, and they kind of suppress the neighboring plants. The other reason why your last beds could be doing badly is shedding, of course. Plants need a lot of sunlight, yeah, right? Sunlight. So if you have shading from the nearby forest, that could be a reason. I can't think of any other one, but I want to invite Twiga.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, Caleb. I'm Gashon Kilu from Twiga. Mine we shall talk more when we go on the field, but most what are affecting your beds on the site on the trees. First is shade, and the crops, they don't need a lot of shade, they need a lot of sunlight. And then the area around the trees, they have a lot of fibrous roots. So when the fibrous roots come across the crop, automatically the crop will not have the good health. So if you compare the beds neighboring the trees and the other beds, they will not be the same. So more we shall talk on the field.
Great. I think, so what do we do first? We do a tour of the farm. Let's go around, appreciate the systems that we have, appreciate the crop. Let's point out and advise him on the mistakes. We are all here not as experts, but we're here to share experiences and exchange ideas. Yeah. I want us to go down, have a look at the farm, and get to learn a bit more of what we have been talking about. Cindy? Good. Then after the tour, we'll come back here and we can have a snack, some refreshment. Oh yeah, the drip line jet. Yeah, now that it could be a prick. Drip lines get pricked, like you said, thorns and physical damage on the drip line that can cause that kind of a. But the other reason is, in the extrusion process, if it's coming from the emitter, it's a hot extrusion process, like the pipe extrusion process. So it's molten plastic coming out, and there's a injector that puts in the emitter at 20 or 30 centimeters. Some of the emitters don't get properly molten or attached, and you'll have a high flow rate. So you just tap it, and it could make it better or more uniform. That kind of it's mostly, if it's coming from an emitter, it's a manufacturing defect, but it's not usually a big deal. Yeah. It's
probably can also be the starting of clogging.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
It could be an indication that clogging is starting to take place in your drip line. Yeah. Great. Let's get down to the farm and see what's happening there.
Okay, let's all get close to the tank. You are free to take as many photos as you want, selfies. Those who are going live on TikTok, Facebook, wherever, you're welcome. Tukaribiani hapa kwa tank. Let's all get close. And yeah, I think we're all here. Thank you. All right, let me just give you probably a small brief, then we'll have Wambua tell us more. So, source of water. I have three sources of water. One is what you call Kanjo water, the normal municipal or county or whatever water, which we get piped. But we all know that one comes once in a week if you're lucky, sometimes twice on a very, very good week, but oftentimes once a week. So inaingia kwa ile shimo. Some of you probably have not seen it, but you're going to see we have a pond over there. And if you've been following me on any social media, I have been talking about the importance of having a pond. To a point, our friend Andrew Kibe decided to also take that video. So it saves you a lot because that pond is 12 meters length by 6 meters by about 1.8 meters depth. Okay, not at heavy, tunapimanga maji hivi. An expert will tell me it's not heavy because pond inakaa hivi, imelala hivi, so even that one we count. So that gives you 144,000 liters of water. Let's do some basic math. Let's assume this is a 10,000 liter tank. It's 5,000, but let's assume it's 10,000 for your whatever mental image. How much does a 10,000 liter tank go for? Know of late. A 10,000 plastic tank. 100K. Whoa. 70? 77? About 70? At a quality in a determined. So we give it what? Another number? 60. For a 10,000 liter tank. 80K. A good quality one. So if you were to put 144,000 liters of water in 10,000 liter capacity tanks, how many tanks would you need? 14 tanks. So what is 14 times 80,000? That was mathematics. 1.1, eh? About 1.1. You need 1.1 million shillings. So who has the loose 1.1 million shillings and ipatie? So I consult for clients and I go to their farms and when I find how much money they need to have tanks, and now I elevate bado, like you only need 70K. You're like, what? Only 70,000 shillings, that's all you need. Kuchimba ishimo will cost you about 20K. Patia majama wakuja walimalime. Then dam liner, you'll be hooked up by them, especially they're going to sort you out. That cost me about 35,000 shillings. So total will justification 70K. So you have 70,000 shillings and you have more than 144,000 liters. Now mind you, I could have gone even 2 meters. And even my length could have been even 14, 15, 20 meters. But I'm on this land, so singefanya kitu kikubwa sana. Secondly, nilipata mawe mingi sana hapo chini. I could have done even 2 meters or 2 point something, 2.5 thereabout. So it's up to you to look at the size of land that you have. I would encourage you people, before you think of buying a tank, please have that. We are going to talk about how multi-purpose, how you can multi-purpose that thing. Wambo is not going to allow me to say you can put catfish there because of silt and what have you, but I mean, could throw a few catfish there. You can put ducks, duck natural aerators. So once your water in the kapale for long and you're concerned about mosquitoes breeding, ducks are natural aerators. They will swim and they will aerate or oxygenate your water. Ducks will also eat the mosquito larvae that is breeding on your whatever, on your pond. Hey, anyway, I could go on. But so last point about evaporation. Don't worry about evaporation. You can always do a shade net, or you could do sweet potato vines and have wires crossing on top. Then the sweet potato vines zitapanda juu ya hiyo vine. or we could do passion fruits, from a canopy, depending on what you want, which is cheaper for you. But total portions sio mingi sana. So now, so that I don't waste a lot of your time, we are pumping water via solar. He will explain that to this tank. He will tell you what is this amazing thing we are seeing over here about the solar nini. Then inateremka pale inakuja irrigates by entire farm. I take about 20 minutes to irrigate the entire farm. Imagine. So I sit, that's my office, that's the avocado branch. There's a joke there. Tunafungulia system pale, na pale, 20 minutes the entire farm tunamaliza. Or you could do 10 minutes per block. But again, it depends with the age of the crop and the type of the crop. Kama saa hii nikakunde kako kidogo sana hapa hivi. Ikiwa kuna jua sana, 10 minutes in the morning and 10 in the evening. It's dependent on the crop and kama kuna kuan kucovercast the whole day. For butternuts, nimefanya butternuts pale. Then sababu msikoni na kichwa mzuri, intercrop na sunflowers. Please, mwalimu, usinipige kiboko sana. Intercrop na sunflowers. Because I'm a beekeeper, we have got an apiary over there. So I'm attracting bees once the sunflowers may grow. And that will be feed for the nectar for the bees and also for the goats. What else am I doing here? Kuna kitu kingine ya maana nafanya hapa. I wish you guys came last week. We had a lot of kunde that block. Some of you saw to use that and tukapanda the same day. That was on 3rd of that block had kunde. Kunde is what you call peas or the roko. Nenzo tulipanda pale. Pale tuli attempt kupanda mahindi na maharagwe because again we were competing with the sun. So pale tunairrigate na sprinkler once in a while. Don't do sprinklers, or you can if you have a lot of water. Mimi sina maji mengi. So imejaminate mahindi ingine pale na maharagwe because I didn't want the land to lay idle. Hoping next couple of days rains will come. Okay? Now, let's go about it. What? Forget about the goats. Today tunakuja kusoma mambo ya horticulture. But goats, if you want to get into goat farming, please tafuta soko kwanza ya maziwa. Na usidanganye ati Kenyatta National Hospital wanataka maziwa sana. Please don't fall for that. I fell for that, okay? For you. Usidanganye ati sijui nimetoka Kijabe, sijui kuna soko sana kubwa sana ya maziwa huko ya mbuzi. I went there. Nikauliza nilikwambia tunanunua maziwa ya mbuzi. Literally Kenyatta I went. So please don't buy into the hype. Follow those people with the truth on social media. It will hurt you know, I like it, but I will tell you. A lot of hype is going on about farming. Please follow the experts. Akikwambia buy primrose seeds, si ati ni mbegu anakupushia ndio ununue ati ya make sense. No. I have literally gone, I know this because they're here. I say even when they are not there, they know that. Hii kununua mbegu fake. Please, wachana nayo. He talked about drips. Hata usienda mbali. See this one I imported from China. Oh, it was very affordable, my goodness. Not China Square. Hawajafikisha hii bado. I imported this from China. If you follow me on TikTok, there's a guy did a thread of me kutoka China install. I even invited some Twitter people wanisaidie kuinstall this. It didn't go more than a year. It didn't. Katika. So cheap is very expensive. Afadhali ukuje useme, hey, watu wa Davis wame 10k more extra, but you're getting good quality. Trust me, quality over that other one. Anything else you want to know before Kostaki kuongea after this? Any other burning question? Yes. Good question. When I got into beekeeping, the first thing you understand is that bees have a migratory route. Kuna route wanapitianga, it's like an elephant route, okay? So hii route kutoka what do you call this place? Ngong kwenda hivi yote. Okay, let me not bother you. But there's a bee route. We're on the bee route. So you attract bees by either having a catcher during the migration season, or you plant flowers, anything that is flowering to attract them. Now they might come to your hives, then disappear after a month. They've done that to me. They are not loyal, by the way. Depending again on the environment. So the idea is to also have water. Kama sasa I'm sort of zero grazing them because baji iko hapa hawaendi, because they can fly for more than 6 kilometers in search of water. So provide some water, provide some vegetation. And that's why some of the crops I'm planting here, they're not really for commercial value. Si ati nitauza butternut hapa nipate pesa mingi, but I just want to make sure that the bees are coming and they're getting a variety of nectar and pollen. I'm not big on maize because my neighbors watanipandia mahindi and my big till nectar from them, pollen or whatever. So I'm planting what we cannot get on a daily basis. All right. Kuna tu spirits tudogo. Now, I'm so happy you guys have come. I'm a guy who believes in try and error. Okay? So, I try to do direct sowing of seeds, of spinach seeds. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. And walimu wako pale atawaambia. So, this I sowed directly. The spinach mnaona hapa hivi. Unasikia character development, eh? Sasa ndio hii sasa. Ideally, this block was supposed to be full of spinach. Zikafanya ile kitu. So after kufanya ile kitu, I'm not going to waste water. So nimepanda kunde haraka because kunde will take me 25 to 27 days. Nitoe. Then nimesow spinach seeds sasa pale. Ziko pale kwa zile nurseries. Nimesha sow. So once we are done with the kunde, tutarudisha spinach. Okay? So this farm, mi ucheza na hii shamba sana. Sometimes you find me transplanting, sometimes you find me sowing directly. Because I want to test the system, I want to test itafanya kazi. Because I had done direct sowing of spinach last season pale and they did very well, all of them. Hapa zimeniambia kijana usituzoe. So I mean, it works like that. Another question? Yes. Kaende. No. She's asking in terms of market. One, actually there are like 2-3 answers to your question. In this region, don't bother planting cabbages. In this region. Because utapata na kilori kimetoka kena gofu warufaga kileta cabbage hapa kiuze na 20 bob. Na umepanda hapa sijui miezi ngapi, plus my farm is little. It's a very small farm. So it won't make business sense. So the first thing I do is naanzia sokoni. Kila mtu aseme anzia sokoni.
Lazima kidogo.
Usiwahi panda kitu enda sokoni. She opens her kibanda in the afternoon. So I'll get her morning hours. So she'll come and plant what her and her friends like. So do you know what they do? A kibanda and a book. Like block. If you saw last week what I said, there's a lady called Wadanieri. Some of you now on Twitter know her, Wadanieri. Wadanieri. She has a kibanda here in Kikambora. So she's one of my casual laborers for the last like 7 years now. Anakuja pale na sema nataka kunde, alafu tunataka sijui, there's something they will tell me. I'm like, really? Hiyo ndio tunataka. Now, since they don't have access to water and drip irrigation, wanakuja wanapanda hapa. So I'll pay them for the labor, casual labor. Lakini I'm guaranteed yeye ndiye atakuja kuzivuna. So they bring along their friends. When I did onions last season, we had a lot of, oh my goodness, a lot of onions. And zote zimebakisha pia kwa kula nyumbani, sitawezi kuuzia. So they did. It's not about the software of farming, it's also the hardware. People. Don't plant just because you have a drip system. Utajiongelesha kwa soko. Network with the brokers. And those brokers, they irritate you for a very good reason. They are good people. They will tell you what to plant and what not to plant. Network with them. Okay? Hope I've answered your question in depth. Any other question before we go? Yeah.
So I heard the engineer talk about how much water it takes to irrigate the farm, and he said 10,000 liters, and my heart dropped because the entirety of where I'm farming, I have just one 10,000 liter tank, so that doesn't last evening and morning. So I'm asking myself, and this is because mentally we are benchmarking here. So how much water do you use in a day? How much do you, what do you do to make sure that the water lasts longer so that you don't have too much drought left at the end of your water? You've already answered the question about what to do with the pan to avoid evaporation, because that's a real, it's a real issue. But back to you. So how much water do you use? How do you make sure that the water lasts longer?
Good question. As a farmer, you must do your math, even how much water you are using. Pointers. Number, do water harvesting. I mean, I cannot overemphasize that. Cooking it, probably have 2-3 more pans in your farm if you have that. Number 2, plant high value crops. Because there's a tumia 10,000 liters or even say 5,000 liters, umepanda kunde, haitakupatia pesa mingi. Again, depending on where you are from. Huku kuna demand ya traditional vegetables. Do that in my county, Nyeri. Natuzia managu, utajiongelesha. Hatukulangi managu. Okay, tunakula, but haina demand vile. So I would go for high value crops. Probably could do strawberries, or could do onions, or you could do tomatoes, or you could do capsicums. There are more high value crops. So that it makes sense. If you're spending 5 or 10,000 liters of water per day, itarudisha. If I may use the word, so itarudisha pesa. But planting kitu ambayo your high value may not give you back. Number 2 or number 3, make sure every emitter could. Please, you see like here, papa kuna spinach. Trying to find an empty emitter. Mali hakuna, this is an emitter, kashimo kale kana mwaga maji. Ikiwa kwa kashimo kana mwaga maji na hakuna mmea hapo, you're losing. On average, I think Antonina, if I'm not wrong, had done some math telling me that I was wrong. The lifespan of a sukuma wiki will give you a profit of about 50 shillings. About 50 shillings. Lifespan, I can say about 5 months of harvesting. The 6 months of the 1,000 headed variety, sukuma wiki variety, it gives me about 50 shillings profit in its lifespan. So how many 50 bobs are you losing per every emitter haina mmea? So when you're doing onions, if you're doing onion farming, if you're doing 20 centimeter gapping, how many onions are you having? So usipande kitungu moja hapa na hapa, pana mbili, like shikane kabisa. Let's say if you look at my photos, my kunde inakuwa imeshikana sana. Because I have a very small piece of land, but I want to maximize all my yield. So spacing, the plant population is very important. Number 3 or number 4, the duration of irrigating. I've shown you guys my kienyeji way of testing kama maji imeingia vizuri. I do 2 to 3 inches. Nikiingiza kwa kidola hivi, please experts correct me if I'm wrong. Mimi ingiza hivi at the root system. Ikifika 3 inches, hiyo mmea imepata maji ya kutosha. But then huwezi fanya kitu kama 1 week old. Hiyo ni kama so crop that's about say 3 months, I don't do more than 3 inches. So that's the average of about, I average 20 minutes. That's my average, because again my height and the type of crops. So don't overwater, don't underwater. But you can further, point number 4, number 5, you can further go ahead by mulching now on. Mulch, weka nyasi, then weka drip juu. You'll further reduce the amount of water you under drip irrigation. So it's about a combined 5-10 points so that you reduce your water usage, right? Here I'm doing this tank, 2,300 block hizi zote per day. I mean, it makes that I don't feel the pinch. Nika ngapi hivi? These 3 blocks. That block, this block. It's about half an acre. So 2,300 liters. That's 23. Oh, this is 2,300. No, morning and evening. Hata ibalizangi saa zingine. Because again, ikishikana sana saa hii itatumia maji mengi because always sunlight. But saa ile imeshikana kama kule, they have a cover crop, you use less water. When I do sukuma wiki, that's why I do sukuma wiki on 20 centimeter gap or centimeter sukuma wiki. Because ikifomka canopy hapa juu, huku chini, I can do 20 minutes. I'll probably do 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening. As opposed to 20 in the evening. Sasa hiyo sasa siwezi jibu. Ndio expert. Maswali za mwanzo wa kawaida nitajibu. Hiyo
because here in this one, the 3, so not all of them will germinate to full term.
Yeah.
So you'll end up losing. So when you're planting, try and space it as much as possible so that you don't lose even one stem. Caleb amesema anafanya trial and error, so
yeah. Hii tukipanda tutakuwa na trial and error. Ikijamini the seedlings, hiyo mkuja tutafanya trial and error. Hiyo nishaacha kwa kiboko already. I'm not doing this again. Another mwananchi wa kawaida question? Perfect question. You know, if you're doing sprinkler irrigation, maji itakuja mpaka hapa, si ndio? Do you need water here? Seriously, do you need water here? You need water where the plant is. So you have less weeds when you do drip irrigation. Yeah. That's why labor cost. I used to have 3 people here. I used to have a staff meeting. When you are ngombe, when you are sukuma wiki, it felt nice. Nowadays I have 1 person. I don't need, why do I need 5 people? So if you need labor, like watu wakuja wapalilie, casual laborers wawili, mmaliza siku muende. I don't need to see you here on a daily basis. So it again cut by cost of labor. Was a question? Mm-hmm. 30 centimeter. Mm-hmm. 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 Niruke huwa siruki mimi.
There's in terms of leaf size, his will be very small, yours will be big. So you find that because once when you're doing, as you was talking of the cover, the minute one plant touches the other, it stops the growth of expansion. So when you're giving more room, the leaf tends to be bigger.
And also as a farmer, wa mama mboga hawataki hizo kubwa sana. I mean, have farmed spinach before, or sukuma wiki. Ikifika hivi, hawaguzangi, hawataki. Onions, I was so happy I was having big looking onions.
But nobody wanted.
Mama mboga hawataki hizo na kwambia tutaka tu medium. I'm like, mtataka nini sasa? So again, you don't plant what you looks good for you, what you like. It's what the market is demanding. So, kwa kitunguu ikinona sana ni shida.
But spinach now, as he said, go to the market within your areas. There are those that don't like this tiny spinach. There are those who like the huge ones. So at the end of the day, where you are based, find out what do they want. Yeah?
Especially if you're doing home delivery of spinach. Wale ambao mnafanya basket deliveries, my goodness, please follow what you're saying. Fanya hiyo gaping kubwa ndio malizi kuwe kubwa sana. They will go for that. But if you're doing at a large scale, utajiongelesha hizo sukuma wiki zako kubwa. Anasema irudishi. You know, hiyo kurudisha ni not making them profit. Now elevation, tank elevation. So I was mentioning this is not one. A guideline on how high your tank should be. Generally, this drip line operates at 1 bar pressure. That's 10 meters.
10 meters of elevation up to maximum 3 bar, which is 30 meters. So anything beyond that, it's not possible. But because it's a low pressure system, it will emit what, even at 5 meters, 3 meters, you get some discharge, which is not as uniform and as accurate as when you have the prescribed 1 bar pressure. So the guide was, this is like 3 meters of elevation, tank platform, about 2.5, yeah. So the guide was, if you have, to get good uniformity, if you have 2 meters, you can do 20 meters of drip, yeah? To 20 meter length with 20. With 30, of course, you can go longer. With 40, you can go longer. But that's a guide. So if you're elevating a tank, make sure you go as high as, economically feasible, as high as possible to get good gravity. This would be like 25 meters or thereabout. Standard practice is to get good head, good pressure. You set up your tank at the highest point, so that you take advantage of that gravity. Like here, we positioned it here. This is relatively the highest point on this farm, and the slope goes down this way, so we are getting good pressure all over. The other thing is, you see how the beds are laid across the slope. Yeah? You never lay drip lines down slope or up slope. Because why? If you have them going down slope, water tends to run to the lower end, and the moment you close the valve, the lower ends will remain dripping. So you always lay drip lines along the contour or across the slope, not down slope or up slope. Yes. Now these 3 drip lines is to maximize on the crop, the intensity, the crop intensity. So this is Kunde. I still feel, Caleb, because this is harvested after 28 days. And I'm going to every 28 days you harvest Kunde. I still feel you could do another line of Kunde on the other side of the drip line. What do you think? And yeah, and because this is 20 centimeter drip, tukifungulia pale, you'll see after 10-20 minutes the whole bed will be wet. It will be wet, so it doesn't matter where the emitter is. You can have a plant in between the 2 emitters and it will get water, enough water. So the wider it's spaced, the longer it takes to wet the bed uniformly. But if you have many emitters, closer spaced emitters, then it takes shorter. Good. So now I want us to just appreciate the equipment. I don't know, Caleb, can we see the pump? Good. So we have the water supply pump. It's a solar pump, DC pump. Over here inside the pan. Now gather around here. So, pump. There's a pump in here. It's a small pump, really. Ken, any idea what's the power rating? What's the wattage of this pump? What is a DC pump? Direct. It's AC. Oh, it's AC. Yeah, you can pull it out, but it's got a sleeve as well. Yeah, this is a 600 watt, say 0.6 kilowatt pump, AC, yeah? DC? Yeah, it's a DC pump. It's a Davis, yeah? Sunflow. It's called a Sunflow X DC. Yeah, that's DC. 600 watt. And what's the flow rate like? I can't read the details. About 15 liters a day. Great. So depending on the radiation or how much sunlight we have, this pump could give you anything between 10,000 15,000. When it's overcast, of course, it will give you less water. It's actually sized. It's powered from those 4 solar panels. Those are 200 watts. 200 watt panels. So that's about 800 watts. We're generating from there and powering 600 watts of motor. And then the tank, there is a bit of mechanism there. The sun tower is actually our innovation. It's a low-cost tank structure. That structure is supporting that tank. And we have different sizes. We have up to 5,000 liters now. 10,000. We can give you a structure to support a 10,000 liter tank. That takes only a tap.
You mentioned the cost of the tanks. They're very costly. Cost. Like that one cost how much?
Any idea, Ken? Listen, we'll check the price. This is 2,500 liter structure. We'll check, tell you how much that is supposed to cost. But we have structures that can take up to 10,000. And this is designed and engineered from our R&D team. The workshop is fabricated from our workshop. Yeah, 3,000. 120% without the tank. Yes. I want you to compare that with a concrete structure or the steel structure. It's galvanized steel. It is very fair. At 130,000 is very fair. Have we patented that design? Because we need to. Yeah. How far? Now, submersible pumps are generally high pressure. I'm not sure what's the maximum head of this one. Maybe we can check. Okay. The details are in here, but yeah. So up to 15, 30 meters. 30 meters elevation. 30 meters. Elevation, height. That's height, yeah. For 200. Now, that, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 200 meters away. Now, number one, you need to be, you need to know how much water to pump your flow rate. If you want to pump like 5,000 liters per hour, then come down to water pipe size. Now, number one, how much water you need to pass through the pipe. And let me clear this doubt about the smaller the pipe diameter, lie. If you're working with a half-inch pipe, the half-inch pipe can only take so much water, 1,000 liters per hour. 2-inch pipe, that will take up to 20,000 liters per hour. Yeah, and there's something we call pipe friction loss. Now, pipe friction loss is a factor of the pipe diameter, the pipe material, and the length and the velocity of flow. Now, small pipe like this half-inch, you're pumping 1,000 liters. The velocity of flow is very high, yeah, for 1,000 liters, 1,000 liters. If you're pumping the same 1,000 liters through a 1-inch pipe, bigger, the velocity is less, yeah. Velocity of flow through a pipe contributes hugely to the friction loss. Friction loss is basically head loss or pressure loss. So you lose a lot of pressure in small pipes. So you are supposed to check over 200 meters computation. They used to call the Darcy's equation of pipe friction calculation, and determine what is my flow rate. It's per hour or 10,000 liters per hour. So you select is over distance. So I said diameter, pipe length, So diameter, of course, will determine the frictional flow and the rate of flow. So your flow rate, what is your desired flow rate? Hapo kuna mahesabu? Yeah. Exactly. Now, pump outlet. This is 1 inch. Actually, this is 1 inch. Yeah, it's 1 inch outlet. Standard practice is, of course, this pump, if your distance is long, over a short distance, you can continue with the 1 inch, same size as a pump outlet. But if your distance is longer, it's always advisable to increase the pipe size after the pump outlet. Increase the pipe size so that you have less pressure loss. Practice. But never reduce. Never reduce the. You put pressure. When you reduce, you increase your pressure loss, your losses, and you limit how much water you get. You reduce your flow rate, basically. Plumbers, sisi ma plumbers kuna hiyo nini kuna tunakuanga na hiyo advice. Punguza hii pipe, utapata pressure mingi. That's a lie. You only reduce the amount of water and increase your pressure flow. Great. So from here we are pumping into the tank, and this time when it's very hot, we can be able to fill that tank several times in a day with this pump. And so the scale here is basically limited by the ground width. It's a very small half-acre farm. This is the limit. Those are the boundaries you see. So we don't have much of space. So if we had more land, this farm could definitely get a lot, a lot more area. Then let's go back. There's something I want us to check. Remember the filter? Let's see how often it's been cleaned. The filter. So this is the irrigation tank, 2-inch high. 2-inch outlet. We've got the filter here, very important, so that we do not push dirty water into the drip lines to avoid clogging. This is a filter. We have many types of filters. This is called a screen filter. It's basically a mesh, 120 micron. It's very fine. We also have others we call disc filters. Disc filters is a stack of discs inside here with very fine mesh. The prescribed mesh for the drip lines is usually 120 micron or 130 mesh. That's the mesh size. So it's very fine. I want us to just open it and appreciate how much that could be going into the system if we didn't have this. And before you open, you need to close the outlet valve to the tank. So close this. Can somebody sacrifice to open this for me? No, we'll just open it. There's not too much water actually. You could maybe open a valve there so we drain some of the water, but anyway, just open. It's not too much. Fungua. Pole pole. Okay, so we'll open that valve. So you need to drain some. Yeah, good. It's gone. Open now. Sawa. Good. Whoa. This is called good riddance. Lots of dirt, slime. So it's very fine dirt here. So we don't have a lot of silt actually. But this looks like algae. like algae that grows on water. Of course, we expect a lot of algae now that it's very hot. There's a lot of sunshine, and that is stagnant water. So algae will grow. This is mostly algae and dust, maybe a combination of that. So standard way to do this is because this is very fine data. Use a brush, toothbrush. A toothbrush is very effective, and just brush on the inside because all the dirt is actually trapped inside this mesh, and it flows out and down into the mainline. If you just have a look at this, you'll be able to appreciate the dirt is trapped from the inside. So you can remove it. You can remove the screen actually. Just remove it. Pull it out gently. You can pass it on. So use a soft brush to clean it. And if you want better results, use some detergent. You can clean it up in a basin detergent. Homo, some detergent will do a clean job. Then you just brush it, and once you clean it up, you put it back. Do we have some detergent here? I just wanted to quickly clean this one. So it's quite. Now, depending on the source of your water, you'll find that kind of that is very common with the stagnant water. And if you don't clean it regularly, what happens is it will limit your flow rate. So you have water passing, but it's not. You know, these drip lines, if you do the computation, this could be like 5,000 liters per hour. But if your pipe is giving you 2,000 because of clogging, that means drip asichai, they're not full. And you're getting less flow rate at the end of the drip lines. So you need to be careful to clean this up. I always recommend, if your water source is bad, like this is not clean, it's dirty water, you need to clean it every day. In the evening, just clean it up, you need to clean it. It's a simple thing. Open it, clean it, and put it back, ready for tomorrow. Sometimes you may have to clean it twice a day, actually. The water quality is worse. If it's relatively good, rainwater or water, you can clean it maybe once every 2 days or once a week. But it's always good to regularly keep checking if it's dirty and clean it as regularly as possible. We got water there, yeah. So here we are washing the filter, and yeah, once a week. Once a week is fair, not too bad. You just clean it kidogo. If you had an old toothbrush, that would be very, very nice. Yes. The filter is likely to be damaged, by physical damage, mechanical damage. If you, it's a very fine plastic. It's actually nylon mesh. So if you cut it, katika rahisi. But and again, if you have too very high pressure on this, either the housing can burst or the mesh can tear. But generally, this will last you a very long time, say until you stop farming. When you tear it, we actually sell spare parts. We can sell you that mesh. Instead of replacing with a full, complete filter, you can get that mesh, any size, for 2 inch, 1.5. They have sizes, yes. So the bigger the filter, the higher the flow rate. Yes. Now filter is clean. We'll clean it later. It didn't do a very thorough job, but let's try it. Put it back. I think it's like this. No. Yes, like that. It's good. The exercise is very simple, just cleaning and putting it back. So it's easy. You just tighten it. That's good. Now we open and see. Tukukaza vizuri. Ndio. Kaza tena kidogo. It's just for demonstration. It's not supposed to leak. But I'm sure we've got a section that's open. Huko chini. Let's go down there and check, see the drip lines.
For those who are asking, the tank, I have not, sijakorogea tank, hiyo shimo ya pond. It's not cement.
It's just earth. It's
And
earth.
avoid stepping on the bed, please. You do the thing easy. Right.
All right, let me repeat. If you want to irrigate this block, you open this system, this valve, but you close that valve over there. So water will come from the tank straight to this block. As we speak, you unaona maji, you can see water. So you sit here and you watch this for 10, 20 minutes. Maji inatiririka pole 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 pole. Once you're done, you close here. If you close here, since water is still coming from the tank, now water doesn't flow down, it goes now straight to that other block. There's a valve for that block. Repeat. Do your 10, 20 minutes, whatever, you close, you open that other side. So kazi yako tu ni kufungua hapa, unaenda WhatsApp, TikTok, do your thing, enjoy. Easy life. So we had a problem with the squirrels. I didn't mention that. Zilikuwa zinatufuata nyuma. Not literally, but zinatufuata nyuma. Zinakula, zinagerminate. Because planting during the dry season and the only farmer who is planting, that's one of the challenges you're going to go through. So we've got, because we have a forest down here. Sometimes you can get antelopes, two small baby, I think called antelopes or gazelles. The first like 3 beds, wanakula. Mungu amekutumia ualisha hata wewe. You see what I was talking about? If you go and tap that one, itaisha. You see that kakitu kana chiririka hapo hivyo? Just tap it, that's it. We can go close for those who want to see.
One of the most common inefficiencies is leakages, and that actually, like an example of a leakage. Top drip line, kama imetoboka, you'll find it's giving you more wasting water. Or if you have fittings that are not tightened, leakages. And this is something you need to constantly, keep checking. You scout, and just follow. Keep, scouting around your system to see whether there are leakages, because that's an inefficiency. You can easily deal with it. Repairs and tightening of fittings. Caleb, this is a tear. It's actually torn. You have some repair connectors? Yeah, we could easily repair it. Wow. This is a
Okay, let me call my guy. I want you to see how we repair tears. Tufunge kwanza, si ndio? So you just come and close here. That one, tufunga hivyo. So if you want to irrigate that part, na sasa maji haingii huku sasa. Utaenda huko sasa. So if someone can go and open that valve, those coolers will start getting water right now.
Do you want to say something? So, repair connector. Sorry? BA drip kit. How much is a quarter acre kit? 34,000, about 34k. Wide 1 meter, 1 meter spacing, but close spacing is. So there are 3 kinds of kits. We have close spaced, like approximately like this one. Then there is wider spacing. So wide is about a meter apart between drip lines. That's 34,000. Close spacing is 40. Per acre. Quarter acre. Quarter acre is 74,000. Yeah. Quarter acre kit. Yes, it will cover a quarter acre. Now, yes, 3 lines like this. Quarter acre. It's about 74,000, something like that. Scholar. 20 centimeter spacing is 74. About 74. But we're not just limited or restricted to the kids. If you want a different setup, we can always customize it depending on your needs. It's not just about kids. Because again, we know different fields, every field is unique. It's different in measurements, the lengths and the widths, and even the slopes. So I always like, deriving these things from first principles. You start from scratch and come up with a unique design for every setup. But you want a kit, they are available, we sell them as kits.
When I look at the beds, I see most of them it has so that in this case anafaa kupanda nini katika
no expert in this, but Anthony will advise us. Okay, there are standard spacings for each crop. Like this is butternut, I think you space it at 40 or 50 centimeters, so inevitably you will have some emitters without a plant. I don't know whether it's advisable, Antonina will tell us that whether it's advisable to intercrop butternut with onion or something else. Not sure what we are supposed to do, but yes, inevitably we will have some wastage, some emitters that are not, you don't have a plant there. If you're dealing with a wide spacing. If it was onions, you do one line here, another one here, and the spacing between the 2 onions is about 5 to 7 centimeters. So I don't know. Simlo, can we plant something in between these butternuts? So what's the ideal intercropping, crop variety? Yeah. So yeah, like she advised, you are not supposed to intercrop anything, something like sunflower. But I guess onions, spring onion, leek onions. Yes. Yeah.
Mulching. Should we do mulching before putting drip lines on? Should we do that? We put the drip line first, then mulch.
Put it even on top of the drip lines, mulch. I don't know. With mulch, you attract termites.
because they are coming to eat the vegetation, dry mulch. But you've seen how they do mulching for at Del Monte for pineapples. They have this plastic mulch with holes, so they plant the pineapples on the holes, and the drip lines are actually inside. So mulch is on top. But yeah, you could have the mulch either below or over the drip line. It doesn't matter, because your termites, you will not eat the drip lines, plastic, but they are likely to cut and chop your plants. Do you have a blade? Cut this.
Asking about the the power it generates. Now, how much can it serve per the acreage of the shamba?
So those are 4 panels of 200 watts. That's then is 600 watt. So in sizing solar equipment, there is always a percentage of over design. There is always a percentage of over design. That's to take care of situations when you have overcast conditions. It should actually start pumping early morning. It gives you maximum, and then in the evening it also reduces. And so that over design factor is supposed to take care of that variation, so that you get more hours of pumping, more water. Now there's something I've noted on those panels. They're quite dusty. Dust actually inhibits the sunshine, the amount of sunshine, and reduces your efficiency of panels. So regularly, occasionally, you should actually clean them up. For very big arrays, we actually a sprinkler system up there, so that once in a while you open it, choppers that dust off, and cleans it off. But they are supposed to be cleaned regularly. Yeah. What's your source? And what is the yield of the borehole? How much water does your borehole give? Is it a borehole or a shallow well? A borehole. What is the tested yield? How much water does it give you? Oh, okay. So it's a liter per hour, but average, yeah. So if you can get it test pumped to determine what is the yield or how much it can give you in an hour, then now you'll be in a better position to determine what size of pump you need to put in there to fill in your 3 tanks of 10,000 and over what time. Maybe Brian, you can just talk a bit more about the power rating of that pump and sizing. He was asking about solar sizing.
I think you mentioned what we normally do. If a pump is we allow it the solar power fluctuates. So the pump is really fast. You can give it money that pump because that the panel load more than the rated power. So we mark it up and then give allowance for it to pump, especially even when there is cloudy so that's it. Yes, the pump rating determines how solar is set. It does, because you see, the amount of water you require will determine the pump you use. The pump you use will tell you how much solar power you need to run the pump efficiently to be able to give you the amount of water you need. Because you can take a big pump, when you give it little power, it will generate little water, even if it's a big pump. So when you know the amount of water you need, it will tell you the kind of pump you need. Because also there are some pumps that can only go to a certain point. So then after getting the pump, then you'll be advised on the solar panel will be sized accordingly to be able to give the amount of water and the amount of power needed to give you your output. So there are a couple of factors to consider.
connector, when you're putting in a connector, you can possibly just chop off some 5 centimeters of drip here on either side, so that you maintain the same empty space. Yeah. So it's a repair connector. We're losing a lot of water from this leakage.
Let's invite her to anichape kiboko. Karibu sana.
Kiboko ushajichapa wewe mwenyewe. You're good. So in terms of seeds, we always advise you from onset. First get to know where your area. Go to the market so that you don't end up buying, planting a crop that nobody will. Once you identify what you require, now you come to the shop, whatever seed you have, all our certified seed, whichever company it comes from, it has to be certified by KEFIS. And on every packet, there is always a KEFIS sticker. I'll show you probably when we go in from the packet, where you're supposed to scratch it, and it will give you like the original, where the company that the seed belongs, and it will tell you it is genuine seed. So it doesn't matter what variety or what seed, be it maize, be it kunde, be it wheat or oats or any other vegetables, all have to have those stickers from whichever company you're purchasing your seed from. So we normally have different varieties of seed, depending also on where you're planting. So we have from the indigenous vegetables, we have the cabbages, we basically have all types of seeds. Apart from now fruits, and now of late we have some tree seedlings, seeds rather, so you can purchase that. But though the trees that we have or the shrubs tends to be leans on the animal feed, so we have from pastures to the trees now, the legumes, desmodium. Last year when we were here, we had very good bracharia grass here. But because the weather, it's been dry and Caleb has been away also. So probably that is why the farm is the way it is. Because ideally you would have so many crops on it. So next time nobody will come because we are going to take it up. I'll probably take a block to show him so that he doesn't do these things that he's doing for us here and try an area. An area. So we will do that, we'll work with him. So in terms of high value crops that we've been talking about, we have tomatoes, we have capsicums, we have mama wa kibanda, so he does. There are those who will supply bogawan, zucchini. Those ones are the high end where now the broccoli colored capsicums are. So you shouldn't shy off. We have all that, and we also go the extra mile of when you purchase or when you come visit us. We are able to go that extra mile. Should you need any help on the ground, we are free. We visit. When you have any challenges at all, you just call our office. You say where you are, and somebody will be able to assist you from wherever. We don't do, hopefully maybe in the future we'll probably try and do the linkages of the farmer to the vendor. It's something we are working on, because that at the end of the day, when I'm selling seeds or even when I'm here, somebody will ask me, do you have a market for it? So we are trying to create that linkage in future so that at least when you're buying seed, I'll tell you, at the end of the day when you harvest, you are able to sell to so and so, and you go to this market for whatever. In terms of those who are doing traditional vegetables, I know Manabu Terere, you'll never, when you go to Kangemi, you'll never miss, especially nobody, Caleb, I know, has never done it. Because this side now doesn't do it, but when you plant it or send it in Kangemi, it is taken up immediately. The orders are just good. They get it as far as from Kisii. So why should we import from other countries yet we can do it here? So normally now you don't concentrate also on the market here. You could also now just go to Parklands, the city park, find out what do they require. There I can tell you broccolis, cucumbers, eggplants, okras would definitely go there. When you do the traditional vegetables, Manabu Terere is this side Kikuyu, but Kangemi now they go the extra mile of Mito and Murenda, which we should also all learn to. I know most people don't like it, but it's very nutritious for us. It has a lot of calcium, iron, so people who have issues with your bones and all that, you should try and put it in your diet every other day. So we have things that even, like radish, we don't consume yet they're very good for us. So we should always go the extra mile. Don't do the normal day-to-day. Even for your kitchen garden, radish is like cherry bell is just 45 days, just like the kunde. I don't know how long it takes. Yeah. So max is normally 45 days. So it's not. There are crops that, especially now with the climate change, you should also go for those crops that you know take a shorter time. You don't go for things that will take a long time, unless now, of course, have given us has opened for us a way that we can do it off season. We should also try and embrace that very much. When we do, somebody was asking about the entrance, butternut, you have to probably get what is required. It's a probing
in the Department of Marketing and Digital Platforms. So you see that as we move on, the technology keep coming in, and like whatever Caleb and the partners are showing us today, this is part of the technology that is coming in agriculture. So you know that by using this kind of a technology, the drip irrigation, and with a little water, you're able to produce a lot of crops and all that. So I don't want to repeat whatever my colleague has said, but on the online platforms, we have ensured that technology has come to us, and therefore we are extending the same technology to you as a farmer. So you find that sometimes you're in your house and maybe there is a jam, you're not able to reach to our shop and all that. So you can quickly get into your phone with your internet or even your laptop, and you're able to shop at the convenience of your homes. So what we do, we have an application, we also have an e-commerce platform whereby you just visit our website or download the application on your phone, and then you order all the items that you need. For example, let's say that you want to do tomatoes, you want to do some butternut, like what Caleb has done here. So what you have to do, you just search similar seeds, you'll be able to, and be able to add the items that you need in your. So what happens there, we will be able to see your order from our side, and then we'll deliver the product that you ordered. So what we do within Nairobi, we deliver 1 day, but outside Nairobi, the order takes 3 days to be delivered. Another technology that we have is the online extension services. Maybe that you are a farmer and this is your first time to do farming. So what we do, we ask you to call us. We have our customer care number. So once you call us, we receive your message, we receive your call, and then get back to you. We advise you what you're supposed to do in terms of spacing, the seed that can do well in your region. So we offer online extension. That's how technology has come to us, and we've brought technology to the farmers. Then the other one is about marketing. Antonina asked about that. So Caleb will ask us, like for example, if I harvest my butternut, where am I going to take them next? So for us, we don't guarantee farmers that we have market for your product, but what we do, we help you through extension, and once we have an opportunity or we know somewhere you can be able to sell your indigenous vegetables or your butternut, we always link you in case we know a place you can sell. Extension also through our online platforms like social media, the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so the YouTube videos, like the last year, you saw the video that was done here. We reshared the same video. You can also go through the video and get to learn more if you are not able to come to the field day. So unless you have any other query, that's all. So the technology is in your hands, with your phones, you're able to get your seeds being delivered to wherever you are. You're able to get the extensions wherever you are. So thank you very much. It's reminding me of something else very good for you, push and pull method. This one happens, remember that nowadays people are also trying to minimize the use of chemicals. So this technology has come to help those who are doing organic farming, even those who are doing they are using chemicals. So this one happens, you minimize the usage of chemical. It happens like, let's say for example, I had a point whereby that what about spacing, intercropping, and all that. So those kind of methods, they help you as a farmer to repel some pests. For example, some of the crops that we have, you can use as a repellent. We have coriander, the dania. We also have, you can also fight some wide, whatever we call the weeds, like Mexican marigold, mofagi. That one you can also plant along your farm, and it will act as a repellent. Now on push and pull method, this is whereby you plant some crops or some plants like napier grass, and also you plant maize. So whatever will happen, it will push. You see, when the pest comes to your farm, there is a crop that will attract the pest. So the pest will be able to consume that crop, and then there's another one that will pull off the pest away. You see, for example, when you have the maize in your, let's say the cabbage farm or your tomato farms, the caterpillars that will come to eat your cabbage will first eat the maize. The maize will act as a guard crop. It's a two technology here, but related. So push and pull has come We also have a whole video on that, explaining that on our YouTube channel. So you can go and search Simlo Seeds and push and pull. You'll be able to get the whole technology. So whatever the farmers have been doing is planting the napier grass, planting desmodium. So you find that the scenario that I've showed you on a maize and a cabbage, that's how it happens. Any other question? Yes. 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 Okay, a very good question. He is asking, in this technology whereby you are trying to minimize the use of chemicals and all that, where we have the guard crops, let's say like maize, and in we have the cabbages. Now the caterpillars or the pests are coming to feed on the maize. They will multiply and the numbers will increase. So what happens? Where will those caterpillars go? And that is now we began by saying you can embrace this technology while you're doing purely organic farming. Alternatively, you can use the same technology in combination with other technologies like use of chemicals, whereby now you have the maize as a guard rows and you have your crops inside. So what you do, remember, this is a trap crop. It's a guard crop. It is guarding the crop that is inside. So the caterpillars will come to feed in the maize, on the maize. So while caterpillars are feeding the maize, that's where you will come with your chemical and spray the guard crops. It will ensure, you see, you also spraying the crops inside here, the crop that is being guarded. And then what you do, you spray this crop as well as spray the guard crops to ensure that all the pests that are attacking the guard crops have also been sprayed to kill them, so that you will reduce their population. And another thing, as you're doing spraying, I don't want to talk more about chemicals because I'm sure that trigger chemicals are here. They will be able to talk about that. You need to understand the cycle, the stages, the stage that is normally the damaging stage. You need to understand the stages of the caterpillar and understand which stage you'll be able to control before it reaches the other stage. Because if you fail, then it means that your crops will be, you'll suffer more loss and all that. Any other question? I can take him. Any other question? Thank you for that. Okay, as I wind up, please make sure that you follow us across all our social media platforms and ensure that you also follow today's post. I'm doing a campaign, Sio Siasa, but a campaign for social media. Thank you. Thank you. My name is from Trigger Chemical Crop Protection. I'll take you through crop protection. Although ukianza kusoma saa hii yote si kama tunaweza maliza so wide. From Trigger we have a package of animal husbandry, crop husbandry, and also we have come up with seeds. But today I'm taking you through crop protection, Department of Crop Protection. Now from the start, you must do what you do the crop rotation. Lazima uangalie umepanda na what you are going to plant. Yeah? If for example last season here we had planted onion. Why do we do crop rotation? Because if you don't do crop rotation, there is a test computer and a farm computer. So if you do crop rotation, you break the circle of test and also farm. And then when you want your crop to be so healthy, the same as crop rotation. Why? Because nasema after crop rotation lazima tena uangalie spacing. Spacing ni kitu ya maana sana. Okay?
For example, kama unapanda sukuma, the spacing should be 30. But kuna kenye tunasema agriculture is not at least 30. So sukuma, for example, this is a drip line of 20. Unaweza panda each drip line. Unaona? And then kuna kitu kingine tunasema kama ni spacing. Tuseme hatukuwa na drip line. Uko kwa shamba. Kama ni kupima, utaendea kushinda kupima, unapima. No, what you do, huwa tunasomeshwa. Ukiangalia mguu yako, ukiwa na gumboot, is 30. Tuliulize mbona is exactly 30. Approximately 30. So, ukiekelea hivi, hiyo ni 30. So, unaenda next. Sawa? Kama ni spacing 15, kitunguu kwa tunapanda spacing ya spacing 15. Unaona kushika hivi ni 50 centimeters. So unapima hivi. Unaona? Unaona imefika wapi? Hapa. Ni ya spacing ya. Pamoja. So unapima 15, 30. Lazima uscout vizuri wakati umeenda kwa shamba. Anaitwa cutworm. Cutworm huwa anakata base ya plant. Hapo tutatumia dawa tunaitanga Duduthirin unakuja umefungulia maji hivi. Unafaa kuja unapiga the base ya plant kwa mchanga. Mdudu kesho yake hautapata. From there unaenda kwa dudu wa juu. Tumepata kwa juu. White flies uko na dawa tunaitanga guys. Kuna guys na kuna dawa nyingine tunaita mea out. Okay. Those are called sucking insects, huh? Sucking insects, they are white flies, aphids, thrips, leaf miner. Utamaliza na dawa tunaita guys ama conveyor out. Guys. ACE. Yes. Kuna kaprojia mtapata. From there lazima ukipiga dawa uangalie PHI. Kwa sababu ya nini? Usipoangalia PHI utalisha watu wa madawa. Twiga hizi za 7-day PHI. Sawa sawa. Kwa hivyo inamaanisha utamaliza siku ngapi? Yeah? 7 days. Sawa sawa. From there ukianza kuchuna kama ni sukuma, kuna short PHI. Kuna Katrin. Katrin is a 1-day PHI. Unapika kesho kutwa mmeshaisha dawa. Kwa pamoja. Kwa sababu ya nini? Hizi dawa huwa zinaingia kwa mwili pole pole. Alafu zinakuja kwa kuwa na side effect on your future health. Si lazima zikuaffect hapo kwa hapo. Unaona? Kwa hivyo huwa tuna advocate sana watu waangalie PHI. Sawa sawa. Kuna mdudu mwingine huwa anasumbua sana anaitwa Folano anasumbua sana mahindi. Tuko na dawa tunaitanga Susita. Tuko pamoja. Susita is a very powerful chemical whereby ukipiga leo hata kama mdudu wako it's a contact. Ukipiga leo mdudu wako kikuja so tumesema kwa PHI kwa sababu Susita huwezi kufai kupiga vegetable. Kwa nini? PHI ni 35 days. 35 days. Another thing is fungal infection. Kuna fungal infection ni pale unapata kuna blight. For example, hizi zinafektiwa sana na unapata matawi inakuwa huku sana kando. Kwa pamoja. Kuna blight, kuna nelelio leaf spot, unapata kuna zile zinapatanga spinach spot. Hapo tu kuna dawa tunaita Mobea. It's a conduct, preventive, and curative product. Kipiga inazuia na inapo na inapona. Na ingine tunaita copper paste. Copper paste kuna hiyo inaitwa Vitra na Isacop. Copper paste ni mbili, Isacop na Vitra. Those are preventive chemicals. Unaona wakati tunaelekea wa mvua, baridi na kuanga mingi, so huwa tunapiga dawa iko na kopa. Kopa huwa inakonga lea kati kuna baridi. Unaona? Difference ya Isacop na Vitra. Isacop is a green copper, Vitra is a blue copper. Difference is Vitra is more superior than Isacop. But soda zinafanya kazi moja. Kuna mahali utapata Vitra ni ya blue, but kama ni mko unafaa kupiga Isacop. Kwa sababu ya nini? Ni green copper. So haitaonekana hivi residue. Sawa sawa. Kama ni feeding, mambo ya feeding, mmea ikiwa dogo tunafaa kupiga kitu tunaitanga high phosphorus. Folia zetu zinaitangwa Rosaso. Kuna Rosaso P, kuna Rosaso K. Kwa hapo huwa tunataka high phosphorus. High phosphorus ukipanda mmea yako unafaa kupiga Rosaso P. That is a high phosphorus. Inapatia mmea good. That's the first month. Mmea kisha pita first month ime grow. So inaenda ina demand nutrients. Ile tunasema unafaa kupiga chakula. Unapiga kitu tunaita Rosaso A. Rosaso A ni high nitrogen. Kwa pamoja? High nitrogen. Ukiangalia iko na 30%, zingine ni 10. Alafu kutoka hapo mmea kiko hii second month. This is the second month. Third month ndio unapata kama ni mmea kama hii. Piga high potassium. Potassium inasaidia flower abortion na fruit. Sawa. Alafu kama ni mmea for example ni kitu wa bulb. inasaidia bana. Sawa sawa. Kwa hivyo kuna haya matashi. Tashi hii ya mwisho. Hizi zingine plastiki. Itakuwa ngumu kufuatanisha. Kuna foleni tunaitaka hivi, utapiga ya utapiga stage ya so ni ya mwisho. Lakini kuna mali. Sasa ikikosa maji kuna mali nafikanga ama kwa ni basi. Mimi napata na inashikwa na stress. Hii mmea ikikosa maji siku zingine mbili utapata hata hydration. Tukakuja na product tank Vigo. Vigo ni ya distress. Ukiangalia imedekorediwa ndio inafanya kazi. Imedekorediwa inakaa mafuta ya kupaka basi. Uzuri yake. Yes. Imeibotiwa tu kwa hiyo. Vigo ni ya distress, vigorous growth na stress management. So unasichanganya na these four things. Kwa pamoja. So after kuchanganya hivi within 1 week hiyo mmea itakuwa imeshoot na itakuwa ina good. Mimi kwa swali. Kwa mmea. Ndio maana nimesema uangalie pH. For example, umespray kama 2 days. Na 3 days hiyo mpeleka kwa lab. Obviously. You are so. Kwa hivyo ni mzuri sana kuangalia pH. After 7 days hata hiyo mmea upeleke kwa lab. Pia na hakuna kitu. This is organic product. Kuna package organic product. You are registered to use organic product. You have package. So this is organic from plant. Kuna swali. Hii unapima 30 ml, hii zingine foliars unachanganya. Hali mzuri wakati unapiga dawa unachanganya na kitu kinataka spread nani. Unaweza Haya, kama peana oda yako hapo,